Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel Reiki Zen. I hope we're all well. This is going to be a continuation of my last video, which was about Moldavite, and this video is going to be about the awakening, about the third eye, and why you shouldn't open your third eye too fast. I've seen a lot of stuff on various forms of social media asking about the third eye and what's the fastest and best way to open it. But first off, let's talk about the awakening slightly. Spiritual awakening, Kundalini awakening, whatever you want to call it. It's got many different names, all which are the same thing. And basically, the awakening is, as it kind of says in the name, the awakening is where you wake up. And it's not about waking up physically, it's about waking up energetically. So your energy, your spirit, your soul wakes up and realizes and is crying out for more. It's crying out for the truth, and it's crying out for not being able to understand why things are the way they are. And usually that is what happens when you start going on your path, on your awakening path. You start to see the world through a different eye, your third eye. You start to analyze and question things a lot more on a deeper spectrum. And people tend to go through, not always, some people just go through an awakening quite naturally, because it is part of their soul journey, it's part of their soul contract, and it's what they came to earth to do, to go through this. However, some people go through spiritual awakening through some sort of trauma, maybe near-death experiences, poor health issues, where they may have suffered for quite some time. And the reason why we go through that sort of stuff, well, what I believe, the reason why we go through this suffering is because when you come out the other side of the suffering, you realize that when you do wake up, it's those people usually that have been to hell and back through some form of suffering that then pushes them it's kind of like a bow and arrow, and the more you get pulled back with whatever's going on in your life, and then all of a sudden, boom, and you fire up, and it's kind of like a catalyst effect for you to just suddenly come out of your physical shackle, your meat suit, and your energy, your spirit, your soul, whatever you want to call it, is wanting answers, and it's wanting a deeper meaning, and it's wanting to know more, but it's also wanting to heal, and that's why you usually find a lot of people that do go through these sorts of things have been to dark places, and then they learn that they need to discover healing, a true form of healing from within, an energy healing, a balancing of your mind, body and spirit to bring it into alignment. Because as your chakras start to light up, your power points, your energy centers that create this energy body within us, this spirit, this soul, as they start to light up and power up, things start coming online, and as it becomes more and more powerful and you venture further down this path, sometimes it takes you further, and you tend to go up and down. You'll go up and down in this process of awakening, where you'll be constantly, and I've talked about it in many videos, where you're constantly leveling up, and you might hit a wall, or you might just sort of nosedive, and then it'll start coming back up again. It's all these little constant challenges and peaks and troughs and pit holes that we have to go through, because we're constantly being challenged, and we're constantly being put in these situations for a reason. And the reasons are usually for us to see past that and see ahead, but being present in the moment with it as well, to understand and feel every aspect of what we are going through within that. And I mean, the way the world is geared now, more so than ever, it's all about the future, and it's all about the past, and bringing you into these different poles of existence. When you come into your spiritual alignment, you come into your true self, you come into your center, and you come into your presence, and the future and the past don't matter. None of that exists. It's irrelevant, because you only have now. You only have this present moment, and you are playing out, you are the actor, and you are playing out your role as you need to in every single present moment. And when we start to look at the present moment and how powerful it is within your spiritual awakening, then you come to realize that that really is all that there is. And you can look forward to things, you can be excited about things that might be in the future, but until that comes, until that's here, and until it's now, it doesn't exist. You may have interviews and or anything like that in the future, but again, until it gets to the now, it doesn't exist. And a lot of things that tend to set people off and pull them away from their true path is this worry, this fear, this anxiety, whatever is going on within them or within the world. And the world tries to throw these things out at us to try and pull the rug from under our feet, I guess, to pull us off this awakening path. But as soon as this ball starts rolling, there's very little that can actually stop him. It can slow down and it can speed up with the cycles of the planets and the moon and the sun and everything else that goes on astrally and in the universe. And then there's things that happen on the earth, the political things and the things that those above like to throw at us. But usually when you're in that place, you can see that it's all an illusion. It's all a lie. And you come to understand that the only truth that exists really is the one that's within you. It's your inner voice, your intuition. And that's why I talk about a lot of this stuff on this channel, to do with your inner voice, your intuition, your healing, your leveling up, your development, your working on your energy body, developing your various senses from within, because they are so powerful, but so underrated by so many people, because again, the world has geared us to think that we have to be analytical, or we have to have a degree, or we have to have this, or we have to have that, when in actual fact, everything that you need, everything that you've learned in this life and many others in the past, is all within your spiritual DNA, your higher self, your inner voice, your tuition from within is all there. Everything you need is there. And that comes to the point where we start looking at the third eye. And a lot of I deem your intuition comes from every fiber of your being. It comes from all of your energy points. Everything, once everything is in alignment with your true self, then this intuition, this inner calling is just there, and it doesn't come from one specific place, in my humble opinion. However, a lot of the foresight and the dreams and information can be received at the third eye, which is kind of your spiritual transmitter to receive and to give out. And it's amazing when it does open. Yeah, it's really, really good. But as that process unfolds and it does start to open, and I've said many times in different posts about this that I've put out there, that these people that want to open their third eye fast, I always say, don't do it fast. Heal yourself, heal within, and as your healing journey continues and your energy body starts to develop, it will be a natural process if it's part of your soul journey, if it's part of your calling. So when it does open, and it will for everybody at some point in their life, whenever it'll be. It might not be this life, it might be many lifetimes in the future. But when it does open, yeah, it's beautiful. But it can be, you can go through, again, a lot of trauma as it starts to open, because you start to see the world the way it truly is, and you start to realize that everything pretty much has been an illusion, has been a lie, it's been a veil, or it's been like blinkers over your vision. And when this starts to open and starts to operate, you start to see that, and it can have quite a drastic effect on people's sense of reality and sense of self. And it can knock a lot of people into where they, again, have a lot of trauma to deal with, because they start to see themselves as who they really are. They might see themselves as the narcissist, or someone within a family that really isn't very good, although before they may have believed that they were. And it can really knock a lot of people for six when it starts to happen. You start to see where you live differently, your job, wherever you work, the people that you hang around with, the people that you're in relationships with, the people that you connect with on a daily basis. You start to see them for who they truly are. And again, this is another reason why I've said before in other videos about awakening, is why people tend to move away and you get a lot of alone time, because as this starts to operate and function, you start tuning into a higher vibration of a frequency, and not everybody's on that frequency, and they start to move away and you get left alone. You get a lot of alone time. And then a lot of people might question that and think, well, why all of a sudden? Why am I all on my own? And many people as well don't like being on their own. They can't handle it. And that is another reason why they need to be on their own, because they need to learn how powerful alone time is for them, for their healing journey and for their development. Because they may have been around toxic people, toxic relationships, toxic family members, but when your third eye isn't open, you don't see it. When it does open, you see it, and you see them for who they truly are. And those people that you've loved and been connected to for many years, suddenly you want to be away from them. You want to move away from those situations. And again, that can have a really traumatic effect on people's lives, on people's existence, on people's reality of where they are. So it really is quite an interesting journey, an interesting subject. And I do believe that, again, as we start going through this awakening process, as your third eye starts to awaken and you start to see the truth around us and the truth within you, you might start to, you may change a lot of habits within yourself. You may have been a heavy drinker, you may have been a smoker, you may have had lots of addictions, you may have been around, like I said, toxic people that have got you into these situations. You may eat junk food every day. You know, all that sort of stuff will suddenly start to change. You will start to incorporate new things within your diet, because you realize that the food that you were eating is making you ill, it's making you sick, it's not helping your vibration, it's not helping your awakening journey. Because when you do start to realize that that something's going on, something's happening, and you start putting the feelers out there and you start questioning people and asking people, and then suddenly the odd person might start saying, I think you're going through an awakening, I think you're going through a spiritual awakening. You won't get that from doctors, you won't get that from nurses or GPs or hospitals. They'll just give you some tablets to cover it up. But a lot of this stuff as well, as you're going through this process, because your soul is ascending and raising in vibration, it's releasing a lot of stuff from within you that needs to be let go. Because until you let go of it, you won't get any further on your awakening journey. It will hold you back, it will hinder you. And that's why, again, we start to see the people around us as blocks within our journey. And people talk about blocks in the chakras and what have you. You don't really get a block in the chakra, you get a block in life, and that's what the block is. So there's certain things, you know, so people might say, oh, I've got a block in my root chakra, and it's causing me to feel this and do this, and you know, I don't feel very secure, I don't feel safe, I don't feel strong in the person that I am. Well, that's to do with you, where you are, and what's happening in your life at that time. And as you start to understand how healing works and the healing journey works, what will happen is you will become more aware of it. Because as your third eye starts to open, you start to realize that actually I don't feel safe because of the person that I'm with, or I don't feel safe because of the area that I'm living in, or I don't feel secure because I have narcissistic people around me that are geared against me or trying to slow me down or don't really have good things to say about me. And again, that's all part of the healing process. You start to see this, you start to feel this within you. And when you see it, you feel it, and you understand it, you move away from it. Then again, another level of healing can begin. You can start to feel safe and secure in who you are, because you've moved away from situations that for such a long time have been programmed into you to be acceptable, an acceptable way of being. But then when you start to see it and realize it and feel it, you understand that no, it's not acceptable, and you take your power back. You start to own who you are, and you start to realize that no one can control you, no one can have the power over you. And that's why you start to move away from these people, move away from these places, move away from jobs, from situations, from life circumstances, because you know that you see the situation, you feel the situation, and you are able to maneuver it to what will work for you. And it's really interesting how it works and how things do change as we see them and as we perceive them and as we realize them. Yes, we also can start seeing a lot more intuitively, a lot more of connection to the spirit world. Deeper, we can get deeper within our meditation, and it's all positive stuff. It's all really good stuff. But with every passage of light, there is always going to be dark. So we have to be aware that when we go through these processes of awakening, of opening the third eye, of wanting to develop ourselves as fast as possible, that's not the way to go. It really is not the way to go. We need to take our time and feel and go through the process and go through every single second of that process and being present with it. And things will unfold, emotions will be released, thoughts, feelings, physical symptoms will all be released. So if you do all this as fast as possible with your energy body, with all this stuff being released, you're going to have serious trauma, serious issues, and then you will get sectioned. So that is my advice to anyone that wants to open their third eye. Go with the flow, enjoy the process. It may take 10 years, it may take 15 years. It's not going to be days, minutes, weeks. It's going to take a long time. And it never ends. The awakening never ends, the ascension never ends. Whatever level you get to, and you start to believe that, oh, this is it, I feel fully awakened, I'm so spiritual, and I'm on this amazing journey, and I've got to the peak of everything. Just when you think you know everything, you then meet someone, speak to someone, or hear something, or look into something, and you realize that you know absolutely nothing. And the process starts all over again. So, and that's why we talk a lot about ego and letting go of the ego, because the ego slows it down. The ego stops everything from happening, it stops everything from functioning. It really does. And that's why do you think a lot of people look into shadow work? A lot of people look into shadow work on this journey because they found their ego, they found who they are. We all have egos. That is something that we can't get away from, because we are living a human existence, and all humans have egos. But it's understanding it. It's understanding when we look at our shadow, which is hidden by our ego. I've done a video on shadow work and how to start doing shadow work before. I'll link that below. But when we start to look at our ego, which is our shadow, which is hidden by our ego, it's all the stuff that we've pushed behind us over the years. And when we start to look at it and release it bit by bit, it makes the journey lighter, it makes you lighter, it makes the journey easier as your energy body starts to shed all this stuff. Then it helps the process, and it helps you realize that your ego has kept you hindered in life, stopped, slowed down. And yeah, it's a big part of the journey. Shadow work and discovering your ego is a big part of your journey. So yeah, my advice, just slow down on your awakening journey. Take your time, enjoy the process, go through the healing journey that you need. Find a healer, get in touch with me, comment below, go to my website. Let me know if you want some Reiki. Reiki can really help with spiritual development, with spiritual growth, as well as healing mind, body and spirit. There's other forms of healing as well. But as well as that, be your own guru. Go where you're guided, where you feel guided to for your journey. Follow that, follow your intuition. Tune into that intuition, feel it. Feel that good calling. If you keep getting synchronicities on your awakening journey, as your spirit starts to ascend and starts to awaken, look into those synchronicities, see what they mean. You know, if you see repeating numbers, look into the repeating numbers, see what they mean. If you start seeing pictures of tarot cards or crystals or certain people, look into them, see what they mean, see what they're there for, see why you're being guided into those situations and why you're seeing that stuff, because it's all messages that you're receiving. And sometimes you might receive these messages psychically through your clairs. Sometimes you might receive the messages in dream state, and sometimes the messages might just come in meditation. They might just come in whenever. You might just feel a presence and just hear a voice that will give you information. But just be aware of it, tune into it, feel it, you know, and that's something that you learn and develop as your journey continues. This video is more for people who are just looking into the beginning of their awakening journey, the opening of their energy, their chakras, their soul, developing their ascension journey. It really is very interesting, very powerful, and it is something that needs to be taken gently, slowly and lightly. So that is my advice to all those people that want to open their third eye chakra as fast as possible. Take your time, enjoy the process, let it unfold, and yeah, we'll always be here. There's always going to be videos on YouTube to give you help, to give you advice on this process. So yeah, check out my other videos about my spiritual awakening. I'll link that below as well. I'll link my shadow work video below. I'll link my spiritual awakening video below, what happened to me. And yeah, check them out as well, see what you think. Okay, much love, take care of yourselves. Namaste, bye for now.